The conflict between Israel and Hamas has sparked a rise in anti-Semitic and anti-Muslim incidents on college campuses here in the United States. But it is a different story at Israel's Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, which is located not far from Gaza. My colleague Katrina Perry spoke to Daniel Chamovitz, the president there.
Could I ask you, Professor, life has changed so much for Palestinians and Israelis in the last number of weeks since those atrocities on October 7th and the attacks that we've seen after that. You're based in the south of Israel. What's life been like on your campus there?
So first, thanks for having me. Good evening. Ben-Gurion University of the Negev is situated only 20 miles from the Gaza border. We are, under normal conditions, a campus of 18,000 students, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Druze. We even have students from the Gaza Strip doing graduate work in water, even one professor from the Gaza Strip who is working with us in the university, a sea of shared society. But since the hideous attacks of October 7th, within our small community, we've had over 83 murdered. 6 of our students and faculty were taken hostage. 1 has been returned, 3 were killed, 2 are still being held, and over 700 are homeless, refugees in our own country, being held in hotels and in other places around. So it's affected everything. We haven't opened the academic year yet.
So how do you work that out as a university community when, as you said, you worked so well together, Palestinians alongside Israelis, and now you're in this situation? Well,
actually quite interesting. What we see happening is that this war, the attacks of the Hamas, have brought Muslims and Jews, Arabs and Jews, closer together in Israel. I was last week at the Bedouin Arab town, city of Rahat. It's right outside. It's only 5 miles from my university. 70,000 Bedouin Arabs. There were Bedouin who were taken hostage. A 16-year-old girl was released just last night. There were over 25 Bedouin Arabs killed. And they hate Hamas even more than the Jews do, because in their mind, Hamas are infidels who have bastardized Islam, and therefore they have to be destroyed. So this has helped Muslims and Jews in Israel and other Arabs, Christians, Druze, because Arabs are not only one religion, come together in fighting these awful terrorists who are a nihilistic terrorist organization whose declared written goal is to kill all Jews. It's just in black and white on in their constitution.
Is there a role then, Professor, for civic society leaders like yourselves to take a stand here or take some kind of action to harness that unity that you've had on the campus and that you're discussing there, and somehow make that work towards a kind of peace, or at least another ceasefire?
You know, that's really interesting that you're asking about the role of academia, because 3 weeks before the attacks, there was a delegation from my university led by my vice president, Professor Sarab Abu Rabia, Israel, maybe the world's first Bedouin female professor, who took a delegation of Muslim and Jewish students to a university in the United States to lead seminars on shared societies. You know, in the United States, even Democrats and Republicans have trouble talking. In Israel, because we know we live in conflict, we're not afraid of dealing with it and talking about it and agreeing not to agree. It's one way of having a shared society.
So given what we've seen today then, since the ceasefire has ended, what do you see when you look into the future? Do you have any hope of a peace?
Of course I do. I mean, look, you know, we have to look at history. We have to realize that what looks hopeless can lead to processes that none of us imagined. You know, if we've been through wars before, we've looked at death in the face, and then the things that we thought could never have happened. For example, after the first Lebanese war, which is in 1982, when I was an undergraduate student at Columbia University, at a time when no one thought that anything could happen, that led to the peace agreement in the long term between Israel and the PLO, when at the time no one thought that that was a possibility. So you always have to maintain the the flexibility in your thinking to know that what's happening now will lead to a reality that no one can imagine.
Okay, well, I think everyone is united in your call to have hope and to have one day peace there. Daniel Chamovitz, President of Israel's Ben-Gurion University of the Negev, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.